immediately starts pointing as well. I'm not sure what the cultural barrier is with the pointing thing. Hey to the masses. All right. Well, here we are. We're going to have one of these night conversations. And I just wanted to basically go ahead on and do the things, a couple of things that myself, this is my experience now, what I thought was shocking, that people would say to, me, with my family. And when I say with my family, I'm referring to with my husband and my children. The shocking things that people would say to me and the things that I found most shocking. And I'm just wondering, before you all ask questions to people that you don't know, do you think about what's coming out of your mouths? Like, I mean, do you literally critically think about what you're going to say before you say it? And I will just never forget one of the most shocking things that people would say. It always, you would think, okay, it would come from people from here in America, or that are from America, Americans or something like that. However, in my situation, it's always been the total opposite. For example, there's a place here, there's a place that sells weave and that kind, those sort of things. Weave, your raw shea butter. It's a Asian place, or Korean. Sorry, I don't know. But they sell products, and every single time I would go in with my oldest daughter, when she was younger, and when I first became her stepmom, the lady, it used to be a lady behind the counter who was of an Asian descent. She would speak in her language to tell me, and first she would say, she wouldn't even ask, she would say, not your baby. Not your baby. Not your baby. Not your baby. I would say, you're absolutely right. I was not 16 and pregnant. You're right. Absolutely not. You're exactly right. It's not my child. However, I am her stepmom. She's like, oh yeah, yep, no, not your baby. No way. Not yours. Not your baby. So she would just continue on with telling me that my oldest daughter, when I first became her stepmom, was not mine. I didn't have an issue with that. I just thought, okay, whatever, that's fine. Not a big deal, right? Like, it's fine. You just shouldn't say that to people, because what if she was my daughter? And should I take offense to that? Should I feel some type of way about that? Should she feel some type of way about that? And that's a whole nother subject. The things that people say around children that they should not say. So that lady would say that. But what I found even more amazing is that here it is, 8 years later, or let's not even, it's not 8, 7 years, 7 or 8, that's right, 7 or 8 years later, and I have my middle daughter, Monty, and I go inside the same store. I rarely go in there. When I say rarely, I say about once every 2 to 3 years. So it's just, I had to have something out of that store at that time. So I went into that store, and lo and behold, the exact same lady looked at me, pointed to my daughter, my biological daughter, Monty, and said, not your baby. I said, absolutely. She said, no, no way, not your baby. She know you. No, you, not your baby. No. Not your baby. So at first I started to get a little frustrated by her telling me that my daughter that was actually biologically mine was not my daughter. And then I just stopped and I watched her as she continued to point. And here she is supposed to be ringing me up. But as she continued to point at my actual biological daughter and say it's not my baby, I just stopped and looked and I thought, am I really about to argue with this lady? In fact, maybe I should pull out my boob and nurse my child so that she understands that this is my baby, even biologically. So I didn't feel any type of way when it was Ari, because, okay, that's fine. That's my stepdaughter. You know, love her to death, but I didn't have her at 16. Let's not get it twisted. So that was fine. But then when you say something about my actual child that I birthed, that I nursed, that I'm the only example of a mother that she will have, unless God forbid something happens, and then, I mean, I don't know what Bryant will do, but I felt a certain type of way about that. And I had to just step back and think, before I pulled my complete boob out and feed my daughter, I am going to totally just get my stuff, get out of the store, and ignore her. So that's one of the things that I found that was shocking, was from someone that I wouldn't think would, I guess, I don't know. I don't even want to go into all of that, but this was my actual biological daughter. It's fine for people to say that my oldest is not mine. Hey, you're right. She's half my age. Absolutely right. I was not 16 and pregnant. Hey, you hit it right on the nose. Absolutely. But when you say that my child that I carried for all of those months is not my child, I felt some type of way. So I just totally ignored her and I left the store. So as I was in the car, I was able to reflect. I can only say the lady just didn't know any better. She had no idea. She had no clue. And even to this day, the same lady at the same store, I had to go in there like 4 or 5 months ago. I went in there to see if I could get raw shea butter at a great price and ended up not buying it because it wasn't at a good price that I would pay for raw shea butter. So I again went up to the counter and I actually didn't have either one of my daughters with me at that time, but she still made, I think she still made some type of comment that I can't even remember. However, what happened to me with my youngest baby, Nari, was even more, I thought, amazing than what I just talked about that transpired with Monty. Was we all went out to a church. You know how churches during the fall, they have these fall festivals and these free fall festivals throughout cities, right, in little towns and stuff like that. So we used to always go to all of them, and we used to love taking the girls to all these different fall festivals and the bouncy houses and the free popcorn and, you know, just stuff for them to do, face painting, and all that great stuff. So we used to go to those, and I will never forget. Here Monty is. She is all of about 3 to 4 months old. We're out here at a fall festival. And a lady that couldn't even speak English, her and her son walked up to me as I had Nari in one of those crossbody cloth carriers, right? The cloth one that goes over your shoulder, meaning your baby is inside and you do like this and people will be able to see your baby's head. So all you could see was about this much of Nari's head, right? So that's all you could see. Like, you could see probably, I say probably about this much. You were able to see a little bit of forehead and a little bit of hair, but you couldn't see anything else. When I tell you, this lady that could not speak English, and I keep saying this because this is going to trip you out. The things that women go through. So this other lady that could not speak English brought her son over to me, and she just immediately starts pointing as well. I'm not sure what the cultural barrier is with the pointing thing. I'm not sure if that's something that's acceptable in different cultures, and that's fine. But pointing, especially at my baby, I'm just like, what are you doing? But, however, that's neither here nor there, and that's fine. This lady proceeded to point to my baby Nari and speak her language, and I just sat there and looked at her. My best friend, Miss Carter, she was there, as well as her husband, and they were floored that these people came up, and she had her son sit there and translate for me. Thank goodness Bryant wasn't there, because he's a bit of a he doesn't take anything from anyone. He's not. At that time, he was reacting instead of responding, okay, if you will. So, my best friend, Miss Carter, and her husband, Mr. Carter, they were there, and this boy, he had to be probably about 20. He starts translating what his mother is saying. And he said, my mom said, that's not your baby. Is that your baby? I said, absolutely. And so he translated it to his mom, and she's still shaking her head violently and pointing. Speaking in her language, whatever that is. And I'm looking confused, as if, is this her baby? Like, I'm confused, like, I was confused. And he was like, no, she said, that's definitely not your, there's no way that can be your baby. And I stood there and I said, absolutely, this is my daughter. As well as the other one, because of course Monty was there, and then of course Ari was there as well. All of these are my babies. So she looks at Monty, shakes her head, looks at Ari, shakes her head, points at Nari again, and says absolutely not. So after he kept saying it for like 3 or 4 times, and I answered him politely, I said, this is my baby. Their father is over there in the hot dog line. I think he was like getting a hot dog or something, a hot dog or chips or something that the church had. He's in the hot dog line getting a hot dog. So they proceeded to look at Bryant. Then they looked back at the baby. Then they looked at me. Looked at me so confused. And then she looked again, looked back at me, and she was just confused. And then she just shook her head, yes. And then she said something else in her language, and then her son said, my mom said, okay, maybe your baby. I said, well, you tell your mom, absolutely, my baby. So I just thought that was rather interesting. So I mean, it wasn't a big deal to me at the time. However, my best friend, and especially her husband, was like, oh, no. Like, you should have, how do you take that kind of stuff when people do that? Like, how do you take it? How do you respond? How does it make you feel? It used to bother me when it happened the first time. However, the first time, again, was with someone that I really couldn't understand. And then the second time was with somebody that didn't speak English, So it's never happened with anybody that I can actually understand, right? So it wasn't a big deal to me. I just think that more so than anything, it wasn't what they were saying. It was just kind of like I was amazed and shocked that these were adults asking me these questions. So that's what I was shocked by. And not just adults. These were older adults. Like, so they had grown children. So this wasn't like anybody that was in my generation. These are like the baby boomers asking me questions about if my children belong to me, right? So I've heard of other mixed couples and people saying things to them, but we haven't had that. We just haven't had that experience. Those are the two experiences that I have had, and I just think that those are rather interesting. Let me know what you all think. I think it's just rather interesting, the things that come out of people's mouths, period. Like, I don't think that some people think before they even say anything. I honestly think they just start talking. If they're intrigued, or if they're curious, or if they like to know more, they just start talking. They don't give you any warning. They're not polite. They're just intrigued, and they want to know what they want to know, absolutely and quickly. So I think that that's kind of how this thing happened, and these two instances happened, and I think that that's I think that it's, now as I think back, it's fine, and it's not a big deal. But at that time, I was more shocked that baby boomer adults were asking me these odd questions as if they'd never seen a mixed child before, and maybe in their country they haven't seen a mixed child. And I find that hard to believe, or not on TV or anything. I guess everybody looks the same, or in the same culture. I don't know how to. I don't know. I was confused, right? So, but I mean, it is what it is. But that's just two of the things that I thought were interesting in my journey. So remember, all right, like, comment, subscribe, share, BryantNishaTV. And there should be a circle about right here. I'm probably going to put it on this side right here with my husband and I. Remember to hit that to subscribe. Hit that lovely little clock so you'll get an email whenever we have more videos to come up. Should you have any questions or anything like that, leave it below in the comment section. I will definitely get back with you as soon as possible. And if you have any experiences or have went through anything like this as well with yourself, let me know. I think it's rather interesting. I have a friend who has a son, and he was mixed, and someone actually asked her while she was in progress. He was a baby. He had to be about she said about 8, 9, 10 months. Someone, and she's a Caucasian woman, and so here she is with a mixed little boy. Someone literally came up to her and said, "What is he?" And she took so much offense to that. She said she was furious because you would ask, "What is he?" She said, "I don't understand what you're saying." And the older person couldn't fix it. They just said, "What is he?" They just kept saying it. And she just kept getting more and more and more aggravated. So she said, "He's a child of God. I don't understand what you're asking." And she said she just stormed off. So that was a bit of a reaction. I mean, because people really don't pay attention to what they say. They just say things. They don't think about it. They just say whatever's on their mind, which I find is interesting. However, thanks for taking your time out. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. BryantNishaTV. Tell all your friends, families, frenemies, co-workers, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.